Good morning. It is June 13th. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. It's about 83, 84 degrees. Welcome to Home Sweet Gardens. This is a 7th garden tour. I'm going to go pretty quick through things because I'm not quite in the production stage of it as far as producing. But I am going to spend a little bit of time on a few things that I would like to show you. Some things that I've learned through trial and error. So let's get started. If you're returning to my channel, thank you. Welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome, and I hope you like it, and I hope you come back and watch more. You can click the subscribe. If you like the video, click the thumbs up button, and if you hit the notifications, then you'll be told when I make a new video. I typically do them on Saturdays, and then a 30-40 minute video takes my internet, I swear, like a whole day to download. So sometimes they're not on the channel until Sunday. Our internet out here is ridiculous. I'm in northwest Missouri, and I live in a very small town. There's about 93 people, depending on if someone's born or someone has passed. We call it uptown, downtown as a joke, but really it's just one little bitty strip. If you blink, you're going to miss us completely. And I work about 45 minutes away. So it's pretty quiet. We have, I have neighbors close, like this, but really everybody kind of minds their own business, own deal. And it's peaceful, so I love it. Okay, so enough about me. Let's get on with my garden tour. Alright, so here are my Texas early onions. I have gotten all the weeds out of them. Again, seems like that's all I ever do. And I have added more soil to kind of build up, because as you can tell, this isn't very deep. This is actually a turtle sandbox for a kid. And of course, my son is almost 17, so if he wants to play in sand, he's going to have to go find some somewhere else. Anyway, so I put some more dirt in there to kind of build up. That way that gives the onions just a little bit more space to develop. They're not going to get giant, and that's okay, because I don't like really, really large onions. I like them a little smaller. I think they taste better. They're sweeter that way. My rose bushes are doing well. It looks like this one's getting ready to put some blooms on. I'm surprised at how small the leaves are, but these are climbing rose bushes, so I guess that's the difference. This is the mixed flowers. There's weeds, grass, and I'm sure other weeds in here. As much as I don't want the grass in there, and as much as I want to pull it, I'm not going to, because if I pull this grass right here, and this plant is a flower, I might inadvertently disrupt the root system of this little plant, who is obviously not very strong, and I don't want to do that. So, not to mention, there are some things in here that I might think are grass, but turns out to be some kind of a flower. So I'm not going to do anything with it yet. I'm going to wait until they get a little bigger. Once they get to be like this size here, and obviously we know what those are. Those are marigolds. So then you could, I could pick a little bit of it like this right here. This is a grass. But you see how it pulls that dirt up? And so if I was to do that really close to some of these small flowers, I might damage them and then kill them. Now this rose bush, I hit with the push mower on accident, and I bent it way down here, like right there, and I thought for sure I was going to kill it. So, and I didn't even have anybody else to blame but myself. But anyway, it's still hanging in there, so hopefully I didn't kill it, and it'll bounce back. It's still green, so that's a good thing. Charlie's uncle gave us some elephant ears. I know they get pretty large. I probably won't be able to leave them in there, but for now I stuck them there because I didn't really have any other place to put them. These are my mammoth sunflowers. They're going to get 10, 15 feet, so I'll have to probably put some T-posts out here with some string to help hold them up, but that's okay. I love them. I've grown them a couple years ago, and they're just beautiful. Alright, so strawberries. They're starting to taper off. Thank God. I have made 24 half pints and 8 pints of strawberry jam. And I've picked enough in the last few days that I could probably do another 4 pints. So I'm okay with them starting to taper off. It's getting later in the season. These are the everbearings, so they're still producing, but as you can see, they're just not very large. Let's see. I didn't pick them last night, so there's going to be several. When they're in full production, I have to pick every single night. Otherwise, you lose them. All right. I have planted sunflowers in the fronts of these beds. I learned that from another YouTuber, and I just thought it was so neat, so I copied her. All right, so lettuce. This head right here is the perfect size to harvest. This is what I would cut and to take in the house and eat. I could eat these as well. They're not as fully developed as the other ones, but you can still eat them. Lettuce is more of a cool weather crop, so it's gotten quite warm. So it's going to bolt. By bolting, it does this. This. You can still eat them when they get to this stage, but they're bitter. Basically, they're getting rid of the little... Go away, wasp. Sorry. They're putting more effort into putting in flowers so they can put off seeds so they can produce and continue on. I will leave some of these because I'm going to want some of the seeds. But if I don't get those picked pretty soon, they're not going to be any good anymore. These are Scarlet Nantes. These are the ones I will use for canning and freezing. They're not quite ready yet. I picked while I was thinning them out the other day, and they were still about pencil size, so they're not quite ready yet. But they're getting there. These are the golden Uzbeks. I've never had them before, but they are gigantic. The plants are anyway. The carrots, some are large, some are thumb size, some are like a magic marker size, I guess, or a Crayola kids marker size. But I just can't get over how tall they are. It's crazy. This is my white columbine that I was going to dig up and repot, and I decided not to do that. I didn't want to disturb it any more than I had already done. So I dug out and got rid of all of the yucky part of the plant, and instead I just put more new soil in it and straightened it up, and it seems to be doing well. It's getting ready to put on quite a few more flowers, so hopefully that will take care of it. Of course, my pink one is doing very well. I put a little bit more soil in it. Purple beans, they look pretty good. I can't manage to keep the weeds out of this stinking bed, though. It's crazy. Even with the pine bedding, the weeds are just taking over. But that's part of gardening, I guess. There's those purple flowers, and they don't really smell, but hopefully I'll be getting some beans pretty soon. Asparagus, they look like giant rat's nest. I don't know. They're just huge. But what's interesting is I am still getting asparagus. Now, I won't eat them because they need to focus on their root system. And if I eat that, then it won't go to seed. And we want that because it's only been a couple of years. All right, these are more of my everbearing production. They're pretty much done. There's a few here and there, but for the most part, they're done. If you'll notice, I think they call this rust, strawberry rust, or I'm pretty sure it's a fungus, but I'm not too worried about it. I know there's a lot of people, oh, you can't let that happen, you need to do something about it. unless it really hampers the plant itself, I don't like to mess with it. I kind of like to just leave things alone and let them go. It might look bad, but I don't care what it looks like. I care about whether the plant's healthy or not, and if it's growing more roots and leaves and flowers and shoots and all that, then it's obviously healthy, so I'm not going to mess with it. Alright, my borage and my salvia and my astables. Gosh, the wasps are out like crazy today. Alright, here's my rose bush. I think I counted 7 blooms. And this has got to be the sweetest, strongest rose smelling, if that makes sense, rose bush I've ever smelled in my life. It's amazing. And, oh, hold on, here goes a truck. Yep. Welcome to the Midwest. He was carrying seed and some fertilizer. They come out with anhydrous. You'll see giant combines coming through. It's crazy. And then come harvest time, you see nothing but grain trucks just back and forth 100 times. It's insane. Anyway, back to the garden. So here's my other one. I had cut that yellow bloom off of it there, and it's already starting to put more growth on. Here's my pink one. Remember, I wasn't sure what color it was or not. It's pink. And there's another one there. So, ooh, 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 look. And one more there. So they look good. And if you take a step back, there's nothing behind me, so I won't fall. Of course, I wouldn't keep that video. But anyway, you can see them right there across that. That's called the bus barn, because back in the 1800s, there was an old schoolhouse out here, and that was the barn, 1800s, geez, early 1900s, sorry, that they used for different vehicles and whatnot. Our house was built late 1800s, early 1900s. It's one of the oldest houses in town. It's got a lot of character. Okay, so this is what I call my junk corner. Hey, kitty, get out of my grapes. She's rubbing on the stalk. So I wanted to turn it into a potting soil area, potting station, if you will. And so I started working on that. I got my little mirror and my bigger mirrors put up there. I brought in over one of my yellow tables, my little bench. This is cool because you can flip it over and kneel, or then flip over and sit on it, and it also folds up. And then another old table. It's sunny over here, but not always. But I just kind of like the idea of having a place I can sit and do this and not have to use my patio, because it seems like my patio is always full of junk and I can't sit on it. Soil, I was talking to you about the soil I was using. This right here is what I use. It's my favorite. You get it at Walmart. It's $1, from $1.30 to $1.50, depending on if there's a sale or whatnot. A bag. I normally pick up, throughout the year, you probably use about 50 bags, something like that. This cypress blend I've got to go put on my hydrangeas in the back on the back porch. But anyway, I really, really like the soil because it's just a topsoil. It has a cow manure odor. That part I don't really care for, but I like the texture of it. There's a little bit of sticks and whatnot, but it's really light and airy. It's easy to plant in. It doesn't compact. And it does, but it's easy to lighten back up and dig back up. So I really, really, really like that soil. The one drawback about it is that it will look like it's dry when it's not. So I use a moisture tester, which has saved me a lot, because I'll look at it and go, oh my gosh, it's so dry, I have to water. And then I get my moisture thing out and I find that I don't have to water. So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind. And here's my shade garden. I moved my little milk jug buckets over here. They're not placed 100% yet, but it'll be something like that. And then, hello. This is the mirror that my husband put up for me. I'm growing my hair out, so it's driving me crazy. Anyway, this came out of one of the old barns, just like that other mirror over there, and I had him hang this for me. It adds a level of dimension that I didn't realize I could have in a garden, so I really like it. The wasps are just out full force today, let me tell you. It's crazy. Okay, so my autumn fire are doing very well. They're getting ready to bloom. This is when they get tall like that. This is going to end up being a bloom here. You can split these like you would any other type of sedum. Just get a sharp knife and just cut through and then dig a hole and put another one there. And that's probably what I'll do this next spring, because I want them to fill in this whole border here. And there were supposed to be butterfly bushes, but they died. So I'll probably split them, and that way I can get this whole line filled up. I think that would look really pretty. My Brussels sprouts are starting to put on their Brussels, I guess. That's how you say it. See if I can get in there. You can see right there. All those every little armpit, if you will, or pit of the leaf will have a sprout on it. These will get quite a bit larger. I mean, they'll probably get up to here. And they'll put a lot of them on. You can let them get really big. I prefer them smaller, so not quite marble size, but maybe more like this versus some that you see that are really big. I think they are sweeter. They don't have such a strong aftertaste that way, but I've got 4 of them. My onions that I had, excuse me, cut back all the way down, can't even tell now, so they're about ready to cut again. You can cut them 3-4 times a year, depending on the season. You can also separate those as well. I separated this one out, was it last year? I think the year before. I divided it, and you can't even tell now. This pot, I had planted columbine from seed, and they were not coming up. I got tired of looking at dirt, so I went to Lowe's, and I bought this pretty little flower. It's a type of impatiens. And this is Creeping Charlie, which will take over. I didn't realize it's a very invasive plant. And I also did not know it would survive the winter, but it did. So if you have some of that, don't let it touch the ground. It looks really sad because I had dug it out of another pot. So these little pieces, they may not live. But the resties that I dug up and stuck in, they'll bounce right back. They actually are kind of like those ivy plants. This right here is actually a root. So if that touches any type of dirt, there it goes. It starts a root. It starts a root. Starts a root. So that's why it's so invasive. I will be coming out here and cutting any of these vines that are sticking out like this. They try to grab you. Can you see the wasps? I don't know if you can or not. They are everywhere. Oh my gosh. And I was going to show you the bird nest. I had to redo this video because my father-in-law interrupted me, so I can't remember if I showed you the nest or not. So I'll show you again. There it is. There's nothing in it, but it's still really cute. A little bitty thing. This is the other plant I got from Lowe's. I can't remember the name of it. It's a funky name, but it looks to me like a little miniature petunia. This trash can is actually from my husband's school, from way, way, way back in the old school, so that's kind of neat. Repurposed. Okay. Lettuce going there. Alright, and now I've got my banana peppers. I'm doing well. Starting to put on some banana peppers. My artichoke. Cucumbers are going up the vine. We've got beets, which are not quite ready, but they're getting there. My kohlrabi, which is starting to put on the little round bulbs, if you will, with where the leaves stick out. So when these get to be about like that, then they'll be ready. I've never had them before, so they're kind of interesting. And of course, more cucumber growing up the back up there. Asian long beans are doing well. I put this string up last week, and they'll wind all the way up it, and then they'll go up the trellis. And you just kind of grab it, and just kind of, like, see this one here, I'll just kind of take it like this, and wrap its little leaf around the string. Come on, buddy, work with me here. There we go. And then it'll go up. The peas are doing well. Looks like it's about time I'll be able to harvest some of these tonight. I've gotten a handful here and there. They never managed to make it to the house. I'm not sure why. Probably because I eat them. But I love fresh peas. So I'm supposed to be canning them, but we'll see. We'll see, because I don't know how many are gonna actually make it up there. Zucchini are in full production. You can tell all the flowers. This one, if you notice, I had cut the leaves off. They were blocking my walkway. You can cut leaves off of a zucchini and squash plant. It will not hurt them. In fact, in some ways, it actually helps them. Okay, so this is the male flower, and this is the female flower. The female flower is the one that has the fruit on it, obviously. When you are trimming your leaves and trimming your zucchini plants, make sure you do not cut off the male flowers until they're completely gone. Like this, I could go ahead and cut this part off here, but don't cut these off, because that's how you get pollination. Now, if you have a male flower on this plant and not one on the other plant, let's say, they can still cross-pollinate, but it's not going to be as easy. If you end up with a plant that's not putting a lot of fruit on, then chances are you don't have a lot of bees or a lot of pollination going on. You can pollinate yourself. You just get a small paintbrush or whatnot, and you do it yourself. You kind of open that flower up, and you get a little of the pollen on your little paintbrush. Then you go, actually you'd start with the male and then put it on the female. I luckily have not had too much trouble with that, but I know some people that do. So vertical growing, I talked about it last week, and that's how I grow my zucchini. As you can see, I've got them tied up. I'm cutting off these lower branches. If I can get it over here, you'll see right there, there's a big thick piece that's cut off. That's because this morning, zucchini plants, they go down on the ground and they grow across. That's why they're so big. When you cut off one branch, it will start to put out a second runner, if you will. And so it had a lot of little fruit on it. But I didn't want it to have a second one because I want one main stalk. So I cut that off. And I think I've got down here in right here. You'll see. That was attached to the plant, and then it had a whole bunch of new leaves. And yes, I cut off some of the fruit. However, I don't want there to be a second runner of plants, because I want it to have just one. So you can do that and it won't hurt it. Okay, now as long as you leave enough of the leaves, it's going to continue to thrive. You can't cut all the leaves off, obviously. And if you cut too much at once, it will slow down your fruit production, obviously. But you won't kill the plant. So like the next time I do it, I'm going to go in and I'll tie up the next spot. Like, see, okay, here's a fruit. I don't know if you can see. And I think I ended up breaking it off. Shoot. It was growing up underneath the stem there. But so I'll bring this in as it starts to grow up, and I'll bring more twine or more. I like this ribbon because it's stretchy in there, and just keep going up and up and up and up and up. I have squash bugs. I've never been able to get rid of them. I don't know anybody that has been able to get rid of them. I can limit them, but I think they don't affect my garden as much, and I think it's because of the fact that I do it like this, because your squash bugs come from the ground. And then this is scalloped squash. I love these. They're funky looking, but their seeds are smaller. and they don't seem to get as strong when they get bigger. Like your crookneck get rather strong. They get big seeds, and I just like these better. They tend to be a little, they seem like they stay more tender even though when they get bigger. So, and they produce a lot. Ooh, there's another bean. There's another pea. Yay, I'm so excited. Once peas start producing, you get a few here and there in the beginning, and then after that, they just go like crazy. The key, gotta pick them often. I come out and pick every single night. And then, assuming I don't eat them all before I get to the house, then what I do is I just keep a bag, a Ziploc bag, and I just dump them in the bag. I don't seal it. You don't ever want to seal the bags. And I stick it in the bottom of the fridge, and then I add to it, and then I get enough, then I either can or freeze or whatever I'm going to do with them. You don't freeze, you don't seal your Ziploc baggies with fresh vegetables because they emit a gas, and when you do that, it degrades the integrity of the produce. So that's, and it has seemed to help, because it seemed like everything would go bad. I'm like, why has everything gone so bad? Because there was no way for that gas to escape. Okra, I have 6 of them. Very excited. I've never grown it before. I'm either going to have a lot to eat or a lot to give away. Depends on whether I'm going to like it or not. Okay, my butternut squash. They're starting to trellis up. This one's taking a little while longer. It was the smallest of all the plants. It'll get there. It's just taking a while. My bell pepper. Yay! I'm excited. Doesn't take much, I guess. Here's my other butternut squash plant. And they are starting to put on some fruit. You see that right there? That is a butternut squash. So as they go and they start to get fruit on it, then I will tie the fruit to the trellis using pantyhose and twine. And I will show you that as we get later in the season. So you'll have to come back and watch the next videos in order to see it. Got to have something to get you to come back. But anyway, so we'll go over that when it comes back the next time. Man, wasps are terrible. Okay, kitty. This is my moisture moisture guide I use. I got it from Amazon. See if I can get this sucker to focus. Come on, buddy, focus. Okay, there we go. So it has moisture, light, and pH. Now, I'm going to set it down there. Maybe it'll help. Yeah, there we go. The light, I don't know why it has light on there. You can obviously tell if there's light or not. You just open your eyes. But the pH is pretty good. I like it because different plants need different pH. Like, I didn't know that bell peppers and tomatoes like it a little bit more acidic. So I couldn't figure out why my bell peppers weren't. I was growing them in this top bed up here, and they weren't doing very well, and I couldn't figure it out. I thought maybe, well, I'm just not very good at it. Well, that bed up there has really, really good soil. It's probably the best soil of all of my garden. Very light, very fluffy, very rich. The peppers didn't do very well. I've brought them down here. This soil isn't quite as good. These 2 beds are better than that one over there, but these 2 beds aren't quite as good a soil. They're a little bit more acidic, and so the peppers do better down here. You'll also find that different areas of your garden will hold moisture better. Different areas of your garden will, boy, that bird was loud. Different areas of your garden will retain moisture. Different areas will have different pH. Different areas will have different kind of shade, whether it's in the morning or the evening or whatever. And depending on what you plant will depend on whether you have shade. So like I have these trellises up here and with the peas. Well, the peas are going to, you know, as they go over the top with the beans and especially my butternut squash, that's going to create a lot of shade. And so there's plants that you can then grow underneath there that you typically wouldn't be able to grow in the middle of the summer, all because of the fact that you've provided a little bit of shade, which then helps, of course, with moisture control. Depending on whether you put straw down, or like I'm using pine bedding. It's my first year. I don't know. We'll see. So far, I seem to like it, but mulch or whatever, um, excuse me, that also helps with the moisture control. So you have to experiment. You just have to plant something, watch it, see how it's doing, and then if kind of keep a note. Some people like to write down in journals. I have a book that's actually a gardening journal, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna keep track of everything. I'm gonna write everything down. And I did it for about a week, and then I did a couple days, and then a couple days, and then I, like maybe in a month, and then I didn't do it anymore. I have good intentions of doing that, but I just don't end up doing it. So I found that I just had to try to remember, which thankfully I'm pretty good at that, but I still need to keep in mind of what I'm doing. So that's why I've started the videoing, not just for friends and family to see the garden that either don't live by me or can't come for whatever reason and like to see it. But also I go back and look at them and I go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it looked like that. Or wow, look how big this has gotten. Or you know what, everything else is doing good, but this really isn't. Why? Well, maybe it's because it's in the wrong spot. Maybe it's in the wrong bed. Maybe I used a bedding or a mulch that it didn't like. Or maybe I didn't water enough, or maybe I watered too much, or maybe we got too much rain. You know, all those things are a factor when it comes to gardening. And it's just something that you have to learn, and you only learn it by experimenting and trying it. So that's the fun of it, though, is that you get to improve on things every year, learn something new, and I try to plant a different fruit plant every year, so I can try something different. Like last year it was Brussels sprouts. Had never had them, and I thought I'm gonna grow it. I grew, I think, 2 plants, loved them, ate like 3 portions of them, then the rest of them went bad, and I didn't get any more because I didn't store them properly and I didn't pick them at the right time because I didn't know anything about the plant. Now I've learned about it, I've read, I've watched a few videos on it, and so now I'm ready. I'm prepared. This year I'm trying okra. I've never had it. I might like it, I might hate it. Don't know, but you won't know until you try it. There's things that I loved as a kid that I can't stand as an adult. There's things that I couldn't stand as a kid that now I love as an adult. So try different varieties, different plants. You may have liked this type, but you don't like that variety. So like green beans, I love green beans, but my mom makes fun of me. But homegrown green beans are fuzzy. What do I mean by they have this? They've got like this little fur on them. I don't know what else to say. They're fuzzy, and so I can't stand them. I have jars of them that I've canned, and I won't eat them. I buy the canned, so I'm trying these purple ones. Maybe they won't be fuzzy. You know, if they are and I don't like them, then I'm going to try something different. I planted the Asian long beans. You know, they're not quite green beans, but they're similar. Maybe I'll like them better. So don't give up just because you don't like something or because it didn't work. Keep trying. Keep working at it. I'm not doing this for anybody but myself. And somebody asked me, why don't you sell your produce? You know, because I have so much left over. I don't want to sell it because I don't want it to be a job. I have a job. And I do this because I enjoy it, because I love it, and I share with friends, with family, with coworkers, because it makes me feel good, because I like to see someone smile. I especially like to give it to people that don't have a garden, that don't know how to garden, or don't have the space or the money, or maybe they don't have the money to buy the produce or whatever. I like to give those people those things because, you know, your average person can go out and buy produce, or, you know, you may have 100 acres or 2 acres or whatever backyard, but some people don't have that option, and I like to share it with people. So why don't I sell it instead? I can make money because I don't care. It's not about the money. It's about the calm and the peace and what I get out of it, and that's why you do something. So I hope you have enjoyed the tour. Things are starting to come along, and it's going to get exciting here in the next few weeks, and really, really hot. So we'll be doing these a lot earlier, I think, the next few following weeks, maybe even in the middle of the night, not sure. So take care until next time. Enjoy yourself, be safe, and have fun.